Yeah, he had a great run, and it's fun to watch. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I watched a lot of basketball.
They had an incredible run, and it was so much fun to watch. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa about the same amount last year because of Larry Bird and Caitlin Clark. I ended up watching a lot of basketball. When one of the greatest basketball players of all time says he's watching you play, you know you're doing something special. That's exactly what happened when Larry Bird revealed that, during the previous season, he watched Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes just as often as he watched his alma mater, Indiana State. And if you know anything about Larry Bird, you know he doesn't hand out compliments lightly. This is a man who has seen everything the game has to offer. He's competed against some of the greatest players in basketball history, yet here he was, making time to watch a young player who was only beginning her professional journey. But there's more to this story than Bird simply being a fan. He sees something in Clark that reminds him of his own path through basketball. Think about it, back in his playing days, Bird wasn't the fastest player on the court. He didn't jump the highest or possess elite athleticism. What he did have was something you can't measure, an extraordinary basketball mind and an understanding of the game that seemed almost magical. Now, decades later, he's seeing that same kind of magic in Caitlin Clark. Clark isn't just making waves in basketball, she's changing the landscape of the sport. Before she even played her first professional game, Nike signed her to a reported $28 million endorsement deal. To put that into perspective, that's more than many NBA players earn over the course of their contracts.
Caitlin Clark is breaking television records. Again. She is breaking her own television records. Again.
She's already the biggest star in the WNBA, and she's barely getting started. But here's the thing about being in the spotlight, it's not all applause and autographs. Some people love you, others doubt you, and everyone, I mean everyone, is watching your every move. When you compare Larry Bird and Caitlin Clark side by side, you begin to understand why he's such a big fan. They both have that rare sixth sense on the court, the ability to see plays before they happen, almost as if they're reading minds while everyone else is still reading the playbook. Both can shoot from distances that make coaches nervous and defenders frustrated. But it's about much more than shooting, it's the way they think about the game. While most players are playing checkers, Bird and Clark are playing chess, thinking 3, 4, and 5 moves ahead. Let's break down what makes Clark's game so special. Every time she steps onto the court, she has the same look in her eyes that all the greats have. It's the look that says, I belong here. Just like Bird, she makes up for not being the most athletic player by being smarter, more skilled, and more prepared than everyone else. She's proof that basketball isn't just about who can jump higher or run faster. It's about who can think quicker and execute better. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting. Steve Kerr, who knows a thing or two about greatness with his 9 NBA championships as both a player and coach, sees something different when he watches Clark. He doesn't see Larry Bird, he sees Steph Curry. And when you think about it, that comparison might say even more about where basketball is headed. Here's what Kerr said, and pay close attention because it's important. Caitlin reminds me a lot of Steph Curry. A lot of people might not remember this, but in Steph's first couple of years, he wasn't a superstar. He wasn't the player he is today. He had to get stronger. He had to learn that everyone was coming after him. That's exactly what's happening with Caitlin right now. Just like Curry in those early years, Clark is learning that the professional game is different. She's had incredible performances, like scoring 30 points against the Washington Mystics, when everything seemed to click, but she's also had difficult nights, including a game against the New York Liberty where she shot just 10% from the field. That's the reality of being a professional. You have to learn how to handle both the highs and the lows. Like Curry, Clark takes shots that most players wouldn't even consider attempting. She pulls up just after crossing half court, and these aren't desperate heaves. They're calculated shots she practices every single day. Her passing is just as remarkable. Watching her throw a pass sometimes feels more like watching Patrick Mahomes throw a football than a basketball player making a routine assist. She delivers no-look passes, behind-the-back dimes, and full-court passes that hit teammates perfectly in stride. Clark does things on the court that most players wouldn't even dream of trying. She's not just playing basketball, she's redefining what's possible, and Curry himself can't help but be impressed. Here's what the greatest shooter in NBA history had to say about Caitlin Clark.
I mean, I've been watching from afar,
Yeah.
and understanding just how much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison to the way that
In another interview, Curry had this to say: she's fearless. The game runs through her, but she doesn't just score, she makes everyone around her better. When you watch her play, she brings an element of surprise that you simply can't game plan for. The moment she crosses half court, she's already in range. Let's talk about that shooting form because it's truly something special. Curry points out that whether Clark is shooting from 3 feet or 30 feet, her mechanics never changed. It's like watching a perfectly programmed machine. Her feet are always set. Her elbow stays at the ideal angle. And her follow-through is almost always picture perfect. That's not natural talent alone, that's the result of thousands of hours in an empty gym, taking shot after shot after shot. When Clark pulls up from the logo, something incredible happens inside the arena. The crowd starts buzzing before the ball even leaves her hands. They know they're about to witness something special. As Curry explained, those shots do more than add 3 points to the scoreboard, they crush the opposing team's confidence. Think about it. How do you defend someone who can consistently make shots from places where most players wouldn't even think about shooting? Teams have tried everything. They've assigned taller defenders, they've used quicker defenders, they've trapped her with double teams, they've denied her the basketball. But just like all the great players before her, she keeps finding an answer. Because when you can shoot from anywhere on the court and pass like a quarterback, there's no perfect defensive strategy. Now let's talk about something that's been building beneath the surface. Not everyone was ready for Clark's meteoric rise. While many NBA stars quickly embraced her game, some voices around the WNBA were more hesitant. And honestly, that's nothing new. Every player who has changed the game has faced skepticism. Larry Bird did, Steph Curry did, and now Caitlin Clark is experiencing it. Change isn't always comfortable, but it's often necessary for the game to evolve. Even LeBron James, who has lived with enormous expectations since high school, stepped up to support Clark. Here's what he said: "Don't get it wrong. Caitlin Clark is going to make great things happen for the WNBA." Coming from someone who has carried the weight of expectations for more than 2 decades, that's meaningful praise.
But I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before.
The journey hasn't been perfect, and it wasn't supposed to be. That tough game against the New York Liberty, when the shots simply wouldn't fall, is part of the story. Those moments, when the game feels harder than ever, are where legends are made. Every all-time great has been through it. Michael Jordan did, Larry Bird did, Steph Curry did. It's never about avoiding failure. It's about how you respond when it happens. But perhaps the most powerful part of Caitlin Clark's story isn't about the stats, the highlights, or even the comparisons to basketball legends. It's about what happens in driveways and gymnasiums across the country. It's about young kids, especially young girls, watching her play and thinking, "I want to do that." Just as Larry Bird inspired a generation to perfect their jump shots, Clark is inspiring today's generation to dream bigger than ever before. At just 22 years old, Clark stands at a unique crossroads in basketball history. She combines the fundamentals that would make the legends proud with a style of play that points toward basketball's future. We're not just watching another talented player, we're watching someone who could fundamentally change the way the game is played. That's what makes basketball so beautiful. Sometimes a player comes along who doesn't just play the game, they redefine it. Larry Bird did it with his incredible court vision and clutch shooting. Steph Curry did it by extending the limits of shooting range. Now, Caitlin Clark is doing the same, blending the best qualities of those who came before her while adding a style that's entirely her own. This isn't just about making shots or winning games, it's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible on a basketball court. It's about breaking barriers, changing perceptions, and making people believe in something extraordinary every time she steps onto the floor. And just like Larry Bird couldn't take his eyes off those Iowa games, we can't wait to see what Caitlin Clark does next. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Leave a comment below and tell us your favorite Caitlin Clark moments so far, and don't forget to share this video with the basketball fans in your life. Until next time, keep watching History in the Making. Thanks for watching.